think that everything is moving here. A rare circumstance where you have a bunch of equipment and you turn it on and it's just working.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah, we don't have that happen a lot of the time. Yeah.
Well, we could say it has something to do with the eclipse.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Possibly. Something in the air.
That's what the eclipse brought us. It brought us working gear for maybe 12 hours. I don't know if you guys got practice today or not, but maybe it's the one day that you can do some stuff without any gear malfunctions.
It's the day everything fell in line.
Well, I am sitting here today with two gentlemen from the band Porters. Make some noise for the internet. We'll insert the digital clap here. Appreciate you guys coming on. Appreciate you hitting me up to come on the show. It was pretty cool. I don't know how long your band has been active, but I feel like I've been seeing your name pop up on a lot of flyers somewhat locally. So I see you wascally wabbits out there trying to get busy, getting some shows, doing the thing, doing what you're supposed to do as a band. So how's the local band thing been treating you? Feeling pretty good about it?
Fair enough. I mean, we're very busy with making the music mostly. I mean, it's kind of weird trying to get shows, but he does a lot of the networking, I'd say, and I do a lot of the production at home.
It's changed a lot too since we started, of course. Like, it used to be a lot of me like sending as many emails as I could to everyone I could, but now it's a little bit more people getting in contact with us, which is really nice. So it's cool. There's a lot of opportunities in Pittsburgh too. I think like a lot of good venues, and we've met a lot of good bands around the area too to play with. And like he's in two bands actually, and he's in a band called Trainwrecked, and we played with them.
Those guys.
Those guys.
No.
That's what everyone said. I'm with them now. They picked me up.
We met them a few years ago playing in like a small VFW in the South Side, and here it is like 2 years later. Now he's playing with them too. It's cool how things work out.
Hell yeah, that's super cool. So Porters as a band, then how long have you guys been making music as Porters?
We've been making music since about 2019. I was playing with this other guy since mid 2018, and I was trying to get more members in, and we weren't doing much. And then I found Lane. What a respectable gentleman. And, we kind of kicked things off from there, went our own path. And I think it's been going good since then.
About 5 years of me and him.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a lot to find, we always wanted really just a bass player. So we were kind of envisioning like a 3-piece.
Yeah.
And it took forever to find that. And then, we found 2 members. They kind of found us at the same time. Yeah. And they had learned our material on their own time, and we were with them for a couple years, and then just this past fall we got 2 new members, replacing them. They kind of went their own way, and of course these 2 guys that we have are in other bands too. So everyone's everywhere, but it's working out really good for now.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this, I also play in 2 bands.
Nice.
And everyone in my band, I think, is probably in another band too, with the exception of one person. But that person used to be in multiple bands. So,
it's kind of the theme around here.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it's just a matter of like finding people that are willing to work and willing to show up. And for whatever reason, the people, it's like, it's hard. It's like, it's so much easier to work with people that are in multiple bands because they already know what it takes and they have the mindset for it,
right?
Versus finding somebody that's not in a band and trying to adapt them to that lifestyle of like, showing up to practice, showing up on time for shows and things like that. So
not everything's fun,
Oh, definitely.
People got to be able to weather the storm, and it's hard to find people that are able to.
Yeah.
And if someone has the will to, who's already in a band, if someone has the will to join another one, they obviously, they mean what they're doing. They're dedicated to the whole point of this. So,
Yeah. Another fun side effect that I find from being in bands with people who continue to play in other bands. It's like, even though they may not be practicing with your band like multiple days a week, they're still playing their instrument multiple days a week. So they're staying sharp.
That's what's happening with him.
Staying on top of stuff. And like, you know, that experience that you have, like even playing shows with different bands, like if you have a gear malfunction, bringing that up again, or like, you know, like a weird promoter, you know, there's so many experiences that you can bring into everything, you know, just it's experience.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Playing a different genre sometimes too can sharpen you in, you know, areas that you didn't know you need sharpened in.
Oh, definitely.
Like him playing in Trainwreck has improved his drumming to me in a lot of ways. Like when
Thank you.
of course, when you know, we're putting stuff together, I think, you know, he's a little bit more willing to take risks now.
Are you playing drums in both bands?
Yeah, I play drums in both bands.
Cool.
Yeah. And I mean, like Porter's, it's kind of an alternative metal kind of mix of a lot of stuff, but playing in Trainwreck now, it's very in your face metal. It's quick, it's thrashy, it's, you know, so that just practicing a lot of that, you know, sharpened up what I do in Porter's, and it's kind of given us more opportunities to write different kind of stuff now too.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Definitely, you know, going into the sound of what Porter's does, I have listened to your band on the Spotifys. I haven't had the opportunity to see you live yet, but I have checked it out on Spotify, and the stuff is really cool. I think like what you had mentioned, it's like a mix of like, it's like a harder indie rock, but also has elements that remind me of shit like Gojira.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know,
huge fan of them.
And like I can hear it kind of all coming together, and with like that cool middle of the road, like not necessarily clean vocal, but not like a harsh metal vocal.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like alternative, I guess. Like I don't know what you want to call it, but
I don't know either. Honestly.
It's not really a point in calling it anything, really.
Totally. I mean, like I don't really give a shit about like something being a particular genre. I'm more like into like what like kind of attitude does this have.
Absolutely.
And I think the songs do have like a lot of really cool genuine attitude. So props on that.
Thank you.
I think it's like really like, it's like a difficult thing, I think, sometimes to like convey emotion through music. I think sometimes when like people are writing heavy music, they think the fact that it's heavy gives it the emotion, but like it can be real transparent. Like there needs to be more than just like the heaviness of it. To like write like something that really is impactful.
We definitely like to write with dynamics and make the music interesting. It's, you know, I enjoy listening to stuff that, you know, gets my mind going a little bit more. So I like putting that into our music as much as I can while still making it easy to listen to and, you know, digestible for, you know, your average, you know, like rock listener.
I definitely do too. I listen to a lot of random stuff, but I mean, him getting his inspirations and me getting mine, they do come together weird, but it always seems to work. So, and it always, you know, brings something new to the table too. So
yeah, I think that it seems like the two of you probably get along in the sense of like nobody's really trying to do anything hyper specific.
Oh, no,
I get the vibe that more or less it's just like we just want to make a cool song.
Yeah, from the beginning we've just been like, yeah, let's just make stuff.
We want to make what's cool to us,
right?
And whatever that is at the time is whatever it is. I mean, we've changed a lot in 5 years. Kind of went from like a grungier sound to now whatever it is we're doing now, and but I love the progression we've made. It's only gotten better to me, and I think we feel the same way. It just keeps getting better and better to us. So that's all that matters to me is progression.
Worse and worse.
With you getting together in like a pre-pandemic sort of environment, had you had the opportunity to play any shows as Porters before COVID, or was it like until after you did?
No.
Yeah,
kind of
a little. Yeah,
a little.
Like maybe like I know you mentioned there was like definitely some like kind of member fluctuation. So was it just like an earlier version of what the band would become?
Yeah,
in a way.
It was just us two.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because we couldn't find. I just wanted to play guitar. I didn't want to be a singer. And then we just like couldn't find a singer steady. So I just started doing that. And so, you know, we started playing out with just the two of us, and we did that for 2 years, I think. And right before COVID happened is when we had our first show, and we had a second one scheduled and it got canceled. And I remember thinking like, man, we're never going to play out again. You know, and then that went by and, you know, opened back up and we ended up playing again. And you know, here we are now, I guess, you know.
Do you feel like you were able to like use that air quote downtime like productively and like be able to grow as like songwriters together? Like how different do you think the band could have been or would have been if you wouldn't have had like that pandemic break?
For me, it was I think it was a good thing for sure. We were separate for like, I don't know, it was 3 months or so. Like we couldn't practice for a while. I used that time to write and I wrote like a bunch of really crappy songs. And
They were bad.
I we ended up using parts of some of them and, you know, but I think it was actually really good that I did that because it got it allowed me to like work that muscle without you know, and I got rid of the bad stuff and I could, you know, work on honing in writing more. And then I think after writing all those crappy songs, a lot of good stuff came out, you know. We
Yeah.
got coming back together, we got a lot of good songs going after that. So I think it was good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is definitely a process. You can't write cool songs without bad ones,
Oh yeah.
unfortunately.
Mhm.
It takes a good it's a good sign to be able to recognize that something that you're doing is bad though. You know,
Yeah.
some people don't want to admit that like their kid's ugly
Yeah, yeah.
in a way.
Yeah.
Yep.
But like sometimes like damn, like you know, this song just ain't it.
Yep.
You
Definitely
know?
a lot of that out of
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. So, you know, right now, you know, fast forward all this time, you know, you got some music online, you're playing shows. Where are you seeing like the trajectory of the band now? What are like some of the 2024 goals for Porters?
Well, we've been making a lot at home. I've been learning how to, you know, produce and mix and, you know, do it the cheaper way, I'd say. Um, and that's allowed us to kind of just work with no pressure, way less pressure, because less money, we could just wake up and do it whenever, really. But we've been trying to make not easier songs, but more accessible songs. Because on the last album, we have a lot of great songs, but they're long. There's at least 4, like, 7-minute songs on it.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I mean, and on this next one we're doing, it's gonna be all DIY, and there's gonna be more shorter songs, 3, 4-minute songs, and they're more straight to the point, but they still, I feel, sound a lot like what we're going for.
Yeah. So you're kind of you're giving everything a bit of a haircut
Yeah.
in a
Yes.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that sometimes I've definitely been um like when you have so many ideas
Mhm.
and you just like overbloat a song
Yep.
and it could
Yeah.
seem like really cool to you, but there's that whole concept of music being a language and a song is a conversation between you and another person. And if nobody understands like your what your where the
Right.
conversation's gonna go, you're
No.
pulling them in 10 different fucking
Yeah.
directions. It's like it's too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just it felt like a lot of times it was just like it was hard to put a like period on the song and just end it because I you know we'd hear, oh, what if we put this after it? It's like we kind of went down that rabbit hole a lot, but um now, you know, I think we're just our main thing, to me at least, is like since we've started, we're never like forcing anything. We have our goals and what we want to do, but we're kind of just going with the flow of what feels best to us, I think. Never this forcing stuff, I always feel like is the wrong way to go about it. So we're always kind of just going with what feels right, whether it's songwriting or anything like that. It's just we've always been kind of just going with the flow, and right now that's the way we're going with it. We're just kind of, you know, shortening up the songs maybe, but still making it what we want, you know,
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
I think one of the things that makes like art great, especially anything that's kind of like rock or metal or punk adjacent, the kind of like the more the crazy stuff, I think
Yeah.
is like the spontaneity of it.
Mhm.
And I think that if you work on something too much and like manicure it, it gets like too perfect if you try to polish it too much, and then it doesn't. That's how it ends up losing like the attitude I was talking about. I have like I'm a really big believer in like your first idea is generally the best one. So just like go, like let your feeling, like let the song just kind of happen. And if it's not happening, sometimes it just doesn't happen. Every once in a while,
we've been there for sure.
You know,
sometimes you just got to call it.
Yeah, sometimes you got to call it, or maybe like who knows? Maybe one day you think about a song, that little idea from 6 months ago, and you're like, oh shit, I know what to do with it now.
Yeah,
but if you just like, if you just fucking,
it's happening right now.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, you beat something into the ground. It's like then you don't even end up liking the song by the time it's done.
Yeah,
and it's like
negative association.
How can you even like perform it with any sort of like integrity if you fucking hate it?
Right.
Yep.
Yes. I perform them with integrity because I hate them. They suck so bad. I'm like,
you know, so right now you mentioned you're getting into like self-recording and producing stuff. The stuff that you have online right now, was that self-produced or was that stuff that you had done with other people?
No, it was done with other people. This is going to be our first time doing it just all by ourselves, basically.
Yeah.
So
is it like a decision that is purely kind of like financial and logistical, or did you find like there was some like issues like working with a producer? Because sometimes it's hard to find like the right producer, and you kind of like battle with like the ideas that maybe they have, or that maybe they tell you that something should sound a different way, and you're like, that's not,
right. And
I mean that kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, for producers that have been doing it for decades, I mean, we'll always take their suggestions because we know they know what the hell they're doing, but doing it at home too, there's not just a saving money, but a time thing. When you go into a studio and you're all set up and they're ready to press record, you got to be on your game that day, that scheduled day at that time.
Yeah.
And we can just wake up, and if we're not feeling that, if he's not feeling the guitar, no, he's not feeling this yet. All right, we'll do it tomorrow. Whatever.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of not just financial stuff, but also the freedom to not be on the spot whenever we're recording.
Yeah.
To get the best, result.
Yeah.
There. And then
we're
also
all pretty busy, so that makes it a lot better. We all have jobs and are in school and stuff. So
we're very busy. Now our bassist, he lives in Connecticut now. I mean,
oh wow.
He goes to school in Pittsburgh, but that's a huge roadblock, and
definitely
that's in the way.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're the guest. You talk.
Thank you. Another thing is we have specific ideas for our songs that can be hard to translate to a producer, and they can do their best to understand what we're going for. But at the end of the day, like the effects we want on things, how we want songs to come together, like the big picture of it, like we see it. And thankfully now that we're gaining the skill to do it ourselves, we can do it just how we want.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a really, really big proponent for bands self-producing, at least like on the level of like knowing how everything works. Cause I think it's a really important skill that even if down the road you decide like, hey, we want to work with another producer for whatever reason. Cause there are positives to it for sure. The insight, the wisdom, experience.
Right.
If it's like somebody that's like reputable, like if you ever do something crazy, you get signed, do the big thing.
Yeah.
But it's good to walk into that experience with the knowledge of knowing how to even like talk to the producer, like, hey, like, like I want like this effect this way.
Yeah.
And if they tell you they can't do it, you're like, motherfucker, you're full of shit. If I can do it, you can do it.
Right.
Don't bullshit me. So being able to have that power, or even just being able to like demo, I find that songwriting is so much easier if you have the capability to kind of demo stuff out.
Yeah.
But that also, you could get into the weeds of those 7-minute songs if you start doing that kind of stuff too.
Yep.
So you got to have a lot of restraint too. But I think it's crucial. I mean, with my bands, everybody in the bands has different ways to like self-record stuff. And, there's weeks that everybody can't get together, but it's like, hey, like I got an idea for something. It's in our little shared Dropbox folder.
Yeah.
They can open it up on their end, record a guitar idea, and it keeps like the ball moving.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a really, really easy way to like remain productive.
Being able to piece together demos now too is huge, because even though we all know what we're going for in a song, he might have a certain vision for what he wants, and then he can, put that down and then show the rest of us, instead of sitting there like, oh, what if it goes like this and then that, and we're just like, what?
Yeah.
Huh?
Everybody,
but now we can actually.
Everybody calls a different part of the something a different thing. Like, what's the hook to you might not be the hook to you, and all that kind of shit. Also, too, the thing that's really good about having the capability to self-track is you can actually make sure that everybody is playing the song right. Because like sometimes in a practice space, it sounds right. In live, it sounds right, because you can always kind of hear what somebody's doing, but not quite. Then you get into the studio and it's like, wait, you've been playing that the whole time? Like you're like a half step up.
I do that all the time with him, and I'm like, but it's like, oh, I didn't know you were doing all of that. Like, it's always like a pleasant surprise. Like, because live, I'm like, oh, you can hear the kick and the snare, and then some other stuff. But then once he tracks it, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't realize you're doing all that right there. Like, that sounds crazy. It's usually like, I don't think I've ever been like disappointed in something. I was always like, it's always the complete opposite. I'm always like, wow, that's amazing. So, that's cool. It's cool to hear the song go from, just practicing it to putting it down and recording it. It always sounds different, you're really able to hear the song now finally, and that's such a like satisfying feeling all the time to finally be able to hear the song like how you intended it, kind of.
And it's like really helpful to like, if you could take some time away from it to be able to like try to listen to it as like from an outsider perspective.
Oh yeah.
Which is like a really hard thing to do, but is also really important.
Yes.
And
it's very hard to do that.
Yeah.
The demos definitely changed that completely too, because I can just sit in, my truck or whatever and just put it on and feel it, not paying attention like I'm playing it, and see if it flows well or what it needs.
Yeah, like listen more to like what the other instruments are doing. Is like stuff fighting with each other? Is there space for more? Especially in like the metal things. Like I have a couple different projects. One of the bands I play in is like a melodic death metal band. So it's a busy fucking band, and everybody's really good at what they do, and everybody kind of wants their time to shine in the song, which is respectable. But sometimes, there's always that like, hey, like we are like 5 people trying to make one thing happen, so it's like sometimes I have to like step back and be like, I'm just gonna shut the fuck up for a bit. And then sometimes it's like, hey, maybe we don't need a guitar solo there. Hey, maybe you don't need to be going that crazy on the drums there, because like individually it all sounds really sweet. But when you put it together, it's kind of like
get busy.
You put too many spices in the curry. I don't know if anybody cooks at home.
No, well enough, I guess.
I don't know. This chicken noodle soup was good yesterday.
Yeah.
So this is a question that I like to ask bands sometimes. Like, I don't know how familiar you are with this, but I'm sure you're familiar with the restaurant Denny's.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course.
So in like the early mid like 2000-ish, like the Warped Tour era, actually, it was part, Denny's did like a Warped Tour collab or something like that. It was Warped Tour or maybe it was some adjacent thing, but they had different bands had different menu items on the Denny's menu. So my question for you is, if you could be any food item on the Denny's menu, what would the Porter's food item be?
Oh,
I feel like you gotta take this one.
Well,
you're the Denny's king, so.
I am the Denny. I'm King Denny, dude.
King Denny.
I mean, we probably do on a platter, gingerbread palace.
Oh, it's got to be some gingerbread something.
Some gingerbread,
maybe some gingerbread pancakes,
So like
gingerbread pancakes.
Sounds
That'd
good.
be pretty good.
Yeah, so we could do like the Porter's palette, the Porter's pancakes.
Yeah.
I was also thinking if you wanted to go savory, you could go with like the Porter's pot roast sandwich.
Porterhouse steak.
Porterhouse steak.
Porter's, there we go. Okay.
Lots of options here.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about a Denny's porterhouse steak though. that doesn't seem to be the most appetizing thing.
Yeah, I don't go to Denny's for steak.
No one
Ever.
does.
I remember that the one reason why I'm thinking it maybe wasn't Warped Tour is because I remember specifically one of the bands was Hoobastank.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think they were ever on Warped Tour, but it's possible they could have been, especially in like the earlier days. But they had the Who Burrito.
That's very nice.
That's stanky.
So, all right. Well, hey, Denny's, you're out there. Hook it up. Hook it up for these up and comers here.
Please.
It's the only place open by our house all the time, so we're there quite often.
Yeah, we are.
With being in a band and putting out music, there's always that, like, there's different steps that like a band takes, right? So I don't know how often you've gotten to play like out of town, out of state, if that's something that's kind of on the trajectory, or is it more like hey, we have our crazy lives going on right now and we're just kind of doing the band as we can. What's like the
our
long
next
goal?
show is in Youngstown.
Hell yeah. You playing at West Side Bowl?
Yep.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, we haven't been there before, so we're gonna check it out, see how that is. He's doing double duty, Trainwreck and Porter, so
cool.
Yeah.
It's a great spot. The owner of that place is great.
I've heard a lot of good things
Yeah, it's
about
a cool
it.
room.
Yeah.
We're just starting to get in that realm now, playing out of state and stuff. We've played one other show in Ohio a little bit ago, but since the band members switched, we kind of had a kind of brief playing out hiatus, and it kind of interrupted that, the way we were going. But I think now we're back on track and we're ready to go. But like I said, with like songwriting, we're not forcing anything. What comes to us, I think. We're just gonna go with it naturally.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, honestly, that's the same way that it's been with my bands over the years, where everybody just has other shit that's going on, so there's kind of like a limit to what we can realistically do.
Yeah.
But it's more or less just like, hey, we play shows out enough. We have good friends. We get asked to play more shows than we're able to take, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's a shortage of opportunities there. But we just do what we can, have fun, take the shows that are going to be cool for us, where we might get to see some homies, play in front of some new kids. That's pretty much it.
Yep.
And it's like a slow build, but it's still a build. Like I'm very much in the mindset of like there's some bands that operate in the melodic death metal world, like a Black Dahlia Murder or something, that have somehow been able to crack the threshold and become like a really big fucking band, and that's fucking sick.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're a diamond in the rough when it comes to like extreme metal music. Usually, the ceiling's a little low, unfortunately. But hey, we still do what we can. Now we're writing a bunch of music, and it's like, how can we still be fucking crazy but accessible? Like you were saying too, like, I've never been the type of person that wants to make like the craziest fucking thing in the world for like the craziest fucking metalheads. It's like, I just like shit I just want to make music that's fun for us and fun for other people.
Yep. It's kind of the attitude we've had to.
Yeah.
I think we're never, we push ourselves, but it's not in an unnatural way or a forced way. We're always reaching our new little goals in our own way naturally. I think it's just, I can't stop talking about that, because it's just like, I feel that's really important to just go with it, really. Yeah. And it's worked for us, and in many ways. So going from where we started to now, we've always been, the song is king. Like, making the song, whatever services the song, is the most important thing. And neither of us are very selfish about that. I don't think. We can both be like make like personal sacrifices for the song. Like, okay, maybe you don't need to do this drum part here. Maybe I don't need to do this guitar part here.
Yeah.
It's just whatever makes the song the best in the end is kind of where we've been since we started, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. I think that especially in modern times, I think it's really easy as a band to get distracted with all of the stuff that you're supposed to do as a band. Like, you got to have the cool social media content and like the sick music videos and all this. I mean, that stuff's fun to do, but it's like, you got to have good songs first.
Right.
Like, why the fuck are you even worried about getting, Instagram followers if your songs are shit?
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
But
putting the cart before
this
the
may
horse.
surprise you. There's a lot of people that seem to be a lot more focused on that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
But I think that, if you focus just on writing good songs, showing up, playing good, being cool to people, making friends, that's going to do so much more for your fucking band than like an Instagram account ever will.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that.
Yeah.
Social media helps. It is important.
Yeah.
But it's not it. Like that's where so many people just like put way too much energy into that stuff. So with that being said, what's your social media presence like? How do you feel about all that stuff?
You say it. I don't know.
Well,
my presence is none.
No, it's good enough, I think, for now. Like, I've been just having fun with it, really. Like, stupid reels. Like, I've been making a joke out of it, kind of. Like, just because I think, like,
that's how it is.
Yeah, exactly. Like how you're saying, a lot of bands put it that in the forefront, and I kind of have like went a different way with it, I think, and made it like just a joke out of it. I don't know, and I think people were responding to it well.
Caught on.
Yeah, I know. Like we take our music very seriously, but like our online presence is very goofy, I think, and I like that because we're like kind of goofy people. So, we like to have fun with it. It's not just a job or something. Like we really care about what we do a lot, but I think being goofy with it online is really funny. We come out with like semi-sophisticated sounding songs, and then it's just like this stupid thing. I like on Instagram. I love that. It's just like entertaining to me personally.
Yeah. I think like the reality of it is that like most people that are spending time on social media are trying to check out. They're not looking for some serious promotional content about your artwork.
Yeah.
They just want something fun
here and there.
And that doesn't have to like diminish the value of your art or the songs itself. I think it's just like people are on there really just to connect with other people.
Yeah.
And if like you can represent your band as, hey, we're just a couple guys having fun writing songs that we care about, but hey, like we're on Instagram, so let's dial it back a bit now because this isn't that fucking serious.
Yes,
it's not.
I think a lot of bands do take themselves, too seriously, especially in the local scene. But I understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, you got to have fun with it, I think, and that's what we're doing.
Why else are you doing it?
Yeah, you got to be able to make fun of yourself sometimes too, and I love that. So I lean into it a lot with social media stuff, I think, and we all, have our own personalities, and it's fun to let them shine, kind of, like that, in that stupid way. Show a different side of us. It's like I like the juxtaposition between the music and the stupid Instagram reels. I think is just so funny to me. I don't know why I like it so much, but
I mean, like I was just talking about this recently with another band that was in here. We got into like the social media conversation, and like there's like so many bands back in the day before social media was a big thing would like put out DVDs or even like VHS tapes, like behind the scenes tour type stuff. And none of that stuff was ever serious. Even like I remember like even like Cradle of Filth, who's like, very, very serious, like type band. Like even their stuff, like the behind the scenes stuff is just them being goofy. And I think a lot of that stuff, seeing it as a kid growing up who like liked a lot of that music, it actually helped like keep me grounded in the fact that where it's just like, oh, like the music is one thing and it's like really intense and it sounds cool and it might be about something crazy, but these are still just like normal people that like, fuck around with each other backstage and pull pranks on each other. And they're just like, they do the same shit that me and my friends do. Like, they're people.
Yes. At the end of the day, we
Yeah.
all the four of us are
here.
friends.
Yeah.
It's like, so, and I think if we weren't, we wouldn't be able to make it work. Like you have to have that relationship already, I think, get along on a personal level and then be able to create music in the best way that you can. Like it would be so hard to work with someone that like, I didn't really want to be there with, know?
Sure. I mean, I've been in that position plenty of times where, I've been in bands, we've had people come in where like most of the time when something doesn't work out, it usually has nothing to do with their ability as a player. It's always something that's just a little bit more personal. And sometimes it's not even anything that's where it's like, well, fuck that person. It's just like, hey, like we're just on different wavelengths of like what we want personally, maybe what our work ethic is, like, you
Yep.
know, things like that. And like, do we, or just like, we just don't get what we're doing, you know, like we're just not on the same page creatively, even though like I've, you know, we can maybe hang out and like have a drink and, you know, sit around and like listen to, you know, some records and have fun and do all that stuff. Like, cool, like we're friends. But when it comes to the creative thing, like we're just seeing different things. It doesn't work out.
Yeah. There's definitely been plenty of members that it just didn't work. There's been too many, I think, over time.
I think it was necessary though. We
It
found
was.
our people now, you know. Like I said, we had 2 members that were with
Hopefully.
us. Yeah. We had 2 members for like a couple years and we were working with them really great, but you know, the music writing was great. We got along with them great, and we still do actually, but it was like you said, you know, it was just one of those things where uh we were in different mindsets about it, I think. So we had to make a change. And now that we did, I think we got a group of guys that, you know, want the same thing in it. So I'm happy with that. And I'm happy we still have a good relationship with the other 2 guys too.
Yeah. I mean, it's honestly, it's really important to be honest with yourself and honest with the other people about that kind of shit, because like I've been in situations like when I was in one band in particular, and it was, you know, very obvious for a while that our drummer did not give a shit about being in the band.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, we were all friends, and like a couple of the other guys in the band, like they had like pretty much grown up together. So we're talking like, you know, this is like blood type shit at this point, you know? And it's just like, oh, whatever, you know, it's not a big deal. Like, you know, can't make it to practice this week, whatever. I'm like, this band's gonna fucking fall apart. And it did.
Yeah.
You know, eventually it just crumbled, mostly just because this one person didn't want to be in the band. And nobody wanted to be the person to be like, well, how about you not be in the band anymore and we're going to find somebody to replace you?
Yeah.
Like it was
difficult.
like easier for everybody to just let the entire thing fall apart.
Yeah, exactly.
And
It's like
I
any
get
other
I get that,
relationship.
but like it just sucks.
Yeah.
You know, when it happens.
Yeah, nobody wants to have to deal with that stuff, but
Yeah.
it's better to you know, like you said, be honest with each other and yourself. It's like, because you're not gonna make the progression you want, I think, if you know, it's not working out. Then it's not gonna work out. If you know it's not, it's not going to, I think, you know. You gotta be confident in yourself and everyone else.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, honestly, you know, my one band, we just had to let somebody go, you know what I mean? Who's like a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And like, it just was just, again, one of those things where it's just like, hey, like, I get the feeling that you're not really feeling this. We're not really feeling it. Let's just call it.
I think a lot of time they know too, though. You know, they're like, yeah, you know, it isn't.
Yeah.
You know?
Nobody like wants to be that person though.
Yeah.
You know, I get it. I mean, it's like any other type of relationship. You know,
it is. It really is. Yes.
It could be really hard to like break up with a friend or a creative partner.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you found your people now, hopefully, supposedly.
Yeah,
I think so.
And you are. So right now, you're guitar, vocals, drums. You have a second guitar player and a bass player.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yep.
So as far as like the writing process goes moving forward, is this still a situation where maybe a majority of like the creative ideas kind of coming from you two and they're more just kind of like filling in the spaces, or are we like everybody contributing creatively here?
For now, I mean, for the longest time, it's been him and I coming up with the structures of the song. He'll bring riffs to me and I'll, you know, we'll piece them together with the drums and all that. And then we usually bring that to the other members, which we did a lot for the other 2 guys, Alex and Nate. But now since these new guys, Bruno and Delon, they're so fresh already that, I mean, we're still kind of doing that a little bit.
Like playing catch up.
Yeah, they're just catching up
definitely
basically.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, in the near future, once they're on the same page as us, really, I think they're going to be good writers.
Oh, totally.
Hopefully.
No, I think so too.
I think so.
Right now, like you said, we're kind of doing the same formula we always have been, which is working, and I'm fine if that's the way it is. It's just I we've never been, selfish about that either. We are always open to hearing what, it's a group effort. We don't want to alienate anyone and make
Yeah.
them feel like they don't matter in the band or something. Like we're all equal parts in the band. Uh, I think that's really important because then, that's when the disagreements come is when
Yeah.
people start feeling, all these guys are doing all this and I'm not.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be that way ever. But right now, yeah, they're playing catch up. They got a lot of songs to learn and we're still writing a lot right now. So it's just kind of, they're getting ahead and then we're going a little further. And then,
Yeah.
it's just cat and mouse game right now. But they both, I think, have a lot of great writing potential. And I'm excited to see what they do here.
And they both come from very drastic sides of the genres that we do.
Yeah.
Like Bruno on guitar, he's heavy metal, heavy. And I mean, we have some heaviness in the music now, but I think he's going to bring that more extreme in a good way. And Delon has a lot of slappy funk type style,
math rock kind of too.
very progressive.
He's
stuff.
a wizard. It's great.
He is a wizard.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know what it is.
It's great though. It's cool to watch him play, but I think his style like fits us really well. Actually,
yeah, I think.
Yeah,
it's
because we're not necessarily like math rock at all, but
Right.
it's like that's still him having that like his roots in that. I think
it's just gonna strengthen the foundation of
Sure.
that part
absolutely.
of us for sure.
Yes,
They're just gonna. I think they're really gonna complement those parts of us in the writing.
Sure.
And I'm pretty excited for that because, I mean, right now still the writing is mainly him and I, and when they jump in on these newer songs, I think it's it's going to transform the band for sure.
yes,
Definitely. I think that it's like huge when you have people that are like not just people who can play an instrument, but people who are like really well versed in what their instrument is.
Yeah.
And if you have somebody that has like a unique style of playing, like somebody that's doing like a slap style of bass, you know what I mean? Like they're going to be able to bring ideas to the table that maybe neither of you would even think of because
totally.
it's like maybe I'm not necessarily a bass player and I'm definitely not like a slap bass player.
Right.
So it's like cool, like what would you bring to this? And it's going to add just a whole different dynamic and flavor, from the limited knowledge that I have of your band, which is just like some minor Spotify interactions.
Yeah.
I know that there is a lot of focus on like rhythm and groove in your songs. So like having like a bass player that is like a bass player is going to be huge.
It's like super necessary to our stuff. Like we don't want
a guitarist that can play bass.
Yes. You need to have a bass player for our stuff, I think. Like because it's such an important part of the music to me. Like the bass drives a lot of our songs. Like even though they start with, guitar and drums, once the bass comes in, I think it gives the song, a whole new life. And I think that's how it should be. I don't want it to just be, guitar and octave down.
Supporting the guitar. It needs to be
totally.
its own voice. And I think he does that great.
Totally.
I feel like for like most good rock songs, like guitars are just the drywall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
though,
like the actual studs and foundation is usually like the bass and the rhythm,
Yep.
Damn
like
straight.
you gotta have like something really, really strong there to
Totally.
get like a really good rock song. I mean, don't get me wrong, you put up the nice drywall and get a good coat of paint on it.
Yeah.
Now it's a livable situation.
Exactly. Yes.
But so that's really cool, and I'm excited for both of you and to see you live at some fucking point.
Yeah.
I don't know when, but we'll see what happens.
Playing
Who knows?
Mr. Smalls soon. You should come to that one. That'll be a good one.
Oh, nice. When's that?
So we have one in May 11th at the Fun House, and then what's the one? I think it's at the end of May. In the theater.
22nd?
Something like that.
Oh, the 32nd. May
Yeah.
32nd.
Yeah, 32nd, of course. We'll get you the details.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be a cool one. We've played it at the Mr. Smalls like once before, and it was like one of my favorite shows ever. I love it down there. In a local band, you play a lot of places that are not the most band friendly, even.
Broom closets.
Yes, yeah. So it was really nice when we first started getting shows in venues that were actually able to have us, and we could hear ourselves. I remember being on stage and I was like, I can hear the bass right now. I was like,
Yeah, you
wow,
could hear everything
this
up
is
there.
crazy. And I can hear myself sing. I can never hear myself sing. I'm like, this is amazing.
I've always had like this like love-hate relationship with like the DIY scene in terms of like what the venues have to offer.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
have no issue. I honestly prefer to operate in a DIY world. But where my beef happens is like I can understand romanticizing like the small dingy room with a barely working PA just full of sweaty kids.
Right.
But like when it's like we're doing like music that's meant to be loud and like tonally it should sound good and be big, and it's like it just sounds better with like a proper PA on a stage presented in the right way, you know? And but still it's like obviously getting opportunities to play places like Mr. Smalls or something like that could be really, really hard, which is why like I appreciate the hell out of places like with the shit that AJ's doing
Oh my
in New
God, yes.
Kensington,
Oh,
where it's like
Yes.
that's, you know, DIY, but sounds great.
He's
Like
doing
everything is
so much right now.
that's like what you want,
Yeah.
you know?
We live like less than a mile away from Preserving, and we got a lot of our start there. And AJ's done so much, I think, for the music scene locally, and now it's just so amazing to see like the progression of the venue. He's getting a lot of bigger names down there now, and I'm so glad that it's like someone who's really passionate about it. He cares about the bands, and he's just a really great guy. We've known him for a while now, and I couldn't say enough good things about him and what he's doing, especially even for just the town itself. Like growing up in New Ken, like the town
It's
is
ghost town.
yeah, and it's
It's
come a
nothing.
long way since I was little, and honestly, I think he's done a lot for that place. The downtown area is a completely different place now.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about, New Ken coming back and all of that.
Yeah.
And I think he's pulling the trigger on it. He's getting everyone because the bigger he grows with his business, I see a lot of other smaller business coming up, and people actually go there.
Yeah.
Because he's really
bringing
bringing
people
in a scene
into
you know?
town. Yeah, he's bringing people into the place that would have never been in New Ken
Oh,
for
yeah.
anything else.
Right.
It's like, why are you going to New Ken? And then, now there's these big bands playing down there, and all these people are coming from everywhere to this little tiny town.
Oh
And
yeah, you
it's
fucking
doing a lot. It's great.
yeah, you fucking figure if there's, a few shows there a week, that's like,
Yeah.
possibly, like hundreds, maybe depending on the show, maybe 1,000 or more people that would have never been going to New Kensington.
Right.
Total economy
Go in
booster
there.
for our little town. It's great.
Yeah, and when people go out to shows, most of them like probably want to find something to eat or something that, all that kind of stuff
Yeah.
too. So that's a good opportunity for the places around there.
And there's a big restaurant a block away, so they're kind of, coming up together.
Yeah.
And the
All
more,
helping each other out.
other businesses pop up, the more they'll just bounce off of each other, which is great.
Mhm.
Him just going all out for it, I think, is really saving the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So shout outs to AJ, shout outs to
Absolutely.
Preserving.
Always.
King of New
And again,
Kensington.
like, DIY is definitely king, but obviously not everybody has the resources to do things on that level. And there's, definitely places in the city that like, their heart is in the right place, but it's just like you probably couldn't pay me to play some of these places, and I don't want to
Right.
call anybody out,
Yeah, I know.
because I get where it's at. And again, like a lot of these places are really good places for bands that are starting too. I
Yeah.
think it's
Yeah.
important to have rooms for young bands, and I'm not just talking about like age. I'm talking about like, hey, like if you just
Yes.
started a band,
Yeah,
it's a
right.
young band. I don't
Yeah, you
care if
can't
you're
just-
50 years old, right?
Exactly.
It's the same thing.
Mhm.
So you got to have spaces for those bands to be able to build stages for them to work out things so they can get to a point where they could play, a Mr. Smalls or even like a Preserving, a place
Yes.
that's like a proper stage and have like a set that's, I guess saying a set that's worthy is maybe
Yeah.
a little
No.
rude, but
Right.
there's definitely some
It's
bands
true,
that
though.
that could probably use a little bit more time practicing before they get on the stage, and I've played with.
It's way different going from, your dad's basement to the stage. So
Yeah.
I think we started playing at a small skateboard shop in Tarentum by us, And
Dry Bones.
Shout out Dry Bones. Yeah. But I think that, helped us a lot too, because it was an amazing place to start, because it was full of people our age that were really passionate about music too. And
they were all into the same stuff.
yes,
Same sort of stuff.
It made us feel really comfortable, I think. Like as soon as we started, it was just like, yeah, this is great.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was reassuring, I think, for us, and it made us want to keep going more. It's the first show we played afterward. I'm like, this is what I want to do. Like, I don't want to do anything else but this. And yeah. So shout out Dry Bones too, and Tarentum. They put on some great shows too.
That's awesome. It's funny because I've never even heard of that place before, and it's what, like 25 minutes from where we're at. Probably it can't be that far away.
It's not too far.
It's just funny how much stuff is going on, and even if you're somebody that plays in 2 bands and runs a podcast and talks to all these different people, there's still more going on than you could even keep up with. And it's just like crazy to like think of it, but it's also really exciting and really cool to know that there's just like all these little worlds of things that are happening around you all the time.
Yeah. I think Pittsburgh actually has a lot to offer for local musicians. I think we're very lucky to be in this area, and there's a lot of bands that we've come in contact with, that we've established great relationships with and have been able to grow with. It's really cool to see. Like, I feel like we're all in it together. It doesn't feel like we're at each other's throats, really. It's really healthy. We're all kind of in it for the same reasons, and we all love it. And it's just I'm fortunate that we're in this area, I think.
Yeah, it's been really cool just over the past, I mean, I guess the past couple years, post pandemic thing. It's been really cool to see the amount of good bands that are playing and being active. Not that there weren't bands before, but it feels different.
It totally did.
It
when
feels
we started,
really different.
it didn't feel like this to me.
Oh no.
I don't know if it's just because we hadn't played out a lot, but it felt like there was like no one else our age, or even like at our level, like just starting out with something. But now it's like I feel like there's bands popping up everywhere. It's really cool. I'm totally like all there for it.
Yeah, a lot of local bands popped up around the same time we did, and it's only gotten more. So that's awesome. We're excited about it.
Yeah, it's really funny because I mean, I think I got to a point with this podcast in like 2018, 2019, where like I like took a break from talking to bands, and I was starting to have different people on, like restaurant owners or comedians and things like that, just because like I kind of ran out of bands that I wanted to talk to.
Yeah.
Like it just there just wasn't anything going on.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I'm back to the point like it was when I started, where it's like every week I got some motherfucker sending me an email.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm just like, okay, cool, yeah. Let's meet, let's talk.
Yes,
we love it.
It's great. Yeah, I love it too. It's great to see the progression, I think. It's come a long way in a short amount of time, I think, and it's only getting better. I think like the bands that we've started with have gotten bigger with us. It's great. Like we're all making our own steps, and it's cool to see that happening in our little area that we have.
Yeah. Well, you keep on playing shows, you keep on making friends, keep on doing what you love, and good things are gonna happen. I know that sounds like some like fortune cookie corny type shit, but I think it is really, really true.
Yeah. People have told us that, when we were just me and him, 16, 17 years old, playing places, like, don't stop. And, those people like have done a lot for me. Like just to hear that when you're that, fresh into it, it really does a lot for you, I think. People telling you stick at this, because you're, you kind of need that a little bit, because you don't get that often. It's a lot of self-belief that you have to have, that you can make what you're doing work, and then to have one person say, hey, this is good what you're doing. Don't stop doing that. Does a whole lot, I think.
Totally. Totally. I think that the most important thing that you need to get anything done, regardless of what it is just like actually giving a fuck about what it is.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have that, then it's not going to get done.
It translates.
Yeah.
It totally translates through to the music. Your passion, I think, is the main thing, because you're not going to make music that means anything if you don't think it means anything. You got to feel it, I think, and we always have. I think.
Yeah. So now we are, coming up here on a new year. You got some new members in the band. You're writing some new music. Going to be playing some shows that you don't quite remember the dates of at the moment, but that's all right. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
As long as you show up, it'll be great.
Oh yeah.
Is there anything that you haven't done as a band that you're hoping that you might be able to do this year? Any like long-term goals?
Not sure.
I mean, I would like to go. We haven't been able to like tour yet.
Sure.
I would like to do that during this year, I think. Just a small little thing. I just want to get
a week or something.
Yeah, I just want to get our feet wet. I want to get into it more, and show a couple different states what we got. I think that's a goal of mine that I have personally for the band. But otherwise, like, I want to keep writing, and I want to make music that keeps me interested is a main goal of mine too. And like he said about the DIY stuff, it's turning out really good, I think. And he's been doing a great job with mixing and stuff. It's a whole thing. If anyone that hasn't done stuff like that, just trying to start mixing music.
Oh yeah,
it's nuts.
I can't do it at all. I have no idea how he does.
I can barely write an email. The only like computer stuff I can really do is that, because that's all I'm really focused on. Like that's all I want to do.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's what you need to do. Something you got to be passionate.
Right.
Exactly. Right. I think that's why
you'll be surprised the things that you'll learn how to do if you
just give a
really
fuck.
want to. If you really want to fucking make it happen, for sure.
And this kind of stuff is the biggest fuck that I give, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
Me too. Absolutely. That's how it was with like learning instruments for me. Like as soon as I started playing guitar, I like totally fell in love with it. And that, I thought, made me able to progress with the instrument a lot faster than if I was just like, I want a girlfriend, let me play a D chord here or something. Like it was like
chord, so you can play my D chord.
Exactly. But it's just, it all comes down to like how you're saying. I think it's passion, and I know it sounds so like corny, but it's the truth. I hate to say it, but you gotta totally feel what you're doing.
It's cliche for a reason.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
But same with mixing. Like he's come a long way in a really short amount of time because he cares so much about it. So it's cool to see that too. I think we have our little studio set up, and
I mean, like,
sounds good.
It's a lot of this stuff. I mean, not to downplay anything that we do as creators or producers or songwriters, but it's like, it's really not like that hard. It's not that crazy.
Yeah.
It's like we could put a lot of time into it, but like it's not like the end of the like. You don't really have to like. For me, like I juggle so much, and I know everybody else juggles a lot of stuff. You could still make the time to do stuff if you give a fuck, and you don't gotta like. People are always like, I don't understand how you have all this time to do stuff, and it's just like, I don't understand how you don't have time.
Yeah.
Like there's so much time in a day.
Yep.
It's just a matter of like prioritizing stuff, and like sure there are sacrifices.
Yes.
Maybe I haven't seen every fucking Marvel movie that's come out in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
I like movies just as much as anybody else, but it's just like, maybe I didn't even fucking pay attention to the stupid eclipse today because I was doing some other shit. I was just like, I'm not that interested. Like, that's not like, that's cool. Like whatever you're interested in. But I think it's just like finding that passion. You can make a lot of shit happen.
Yes.
It's not that hard. Recording stuff. It's not that complicated. You can make it complicated, but it doesn't have to be that complicated, you know? You figure out like, hey, I'm just trying to get an audio signal into the computer and like, does it sound good? Cool. I recorded a song.
Right.
Not to downplay mixing and mastering engineering, but like it doesn't
At the end
have
of
to
the day,
be
that's
that
how it works.
Yeah,
That's what
it's
it
like
is.
I think some people really like make it this lofty thing where it's like, hey, like I want to get into producing, but I don't think I could do it, or like I don't have the resources or things like that. It's like, I mean, sure, like you can get like a thousands and thousands of dollar computer, but like I have a computer that I record my music on that I bought on Amazon for $500.
Yeah.
It works fine.
I record on a TV. I do.
Yeah.
Now is the easiest time to do it too, I think. Like it's not like, you have to work with physical tape now. It's so much easier than the process used to be. It's accessible to anyone now, really. Like
the three of us right now, if we really wanted to, we could record a song on this.
Yeah, exactly.
Take a band promo, make a logo, and upload it for worldwide distribution in probably about, however long it takes us to record the song.
Yes.
We
And
could do
when
that-
has that been a thing
We could
in
do
the
that
world?
very quick.
Like that hasn't been a thing ever. And now it's like, I think it has its positives and its negatives like everything else. Like, now anybody can do that. Anybody can put their stuff out. And a lot of times it's not very good.
Sure.
But I think also a lot of bands that you would have never heard of, you get access to because of the social media and this, their ability to do their stuff themselves. It's not, as dependent on like a label now.
Well, I mean,
or
like,
something.
how fucking rad is it where it's like you can send me an email wanting to come on, and it's like, well, I haven't checked out one of their shows. Let me do this, and just I could pull up and listen to your music within a minute.
Yeah.
See whatever.
Yeah.
Or whatever anywhere.
Yeah. And just like be like, it's really easy to be like, oh, this thing is the devil, and there's so much, but if you put your energy into like surrounding yourself with cool things on social media and the internet, like you kind of create your environment on there. You choose who you follow, you choose who you're friends with.
Yeah.
And if all you're seeing is a bunch of negativity, it's like, well, hey, maybe you
created
should
it.
unfollow some of those people.
Yeah.
I don't care if you went to high school together. If someone's an idiot online, get them out of here.
Yeah.
Who cares? So, but I don't know. I'm stoked.
I have the
Stoked
best
for you guys.
environment online.
The best?
The best.
Really?
Yeah, I try and share it with you, but
Oh yeah, you share a lot of things with me over the internet. It's fantastic.
the best.
Well, gentlemen, we have come around the corner here. We've hit our hour mark on our episode. I want to thank you for coming by to
Thank
chat
you for
today.
having
It was
us.
great to meet both of you. It's awesome to meet another cool band
Whoa.
in the city.
Cool's a stretch.
Thanks.
No, actually, I was like really pleasantly surprised just like listening to the little bit of the stuff that I did that you had on Spotify. So I was like, it's just like it seems like you're doing like your own thing, and it's cool, and I like that.
Thank you.
I've heard a lot of music in my life, and I'm not going to sit here and say that it's you're changing the world, but art doesn't need to change the world. I actually think that like thinking that like every song or every band needs to be like the next best thing or the most heaviest thing, it's like that like ruins art.
It takes character out of it.
Yeah, totally. It's like
Defeats the purpose.
Yeah, that's not the idea. It's like you got to like spend time like being in the moment with that art while you're engaging with it, rather than trying to immediately compare it to everything else that you've ever heard.
Yeah.
I hate that shit when people talking about Marvel movies like, oh, this movie was good, but not as good as the last Spider-Man movie. It's like, who the fuck cares?
It's not the last Spider-Man.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's just so weird to think like, oh, this burger was good, but it wasn't as good as the burger I had last week.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
I
hard
don't
not
know.
to do that sometimes, though. You know, just like human nature. But
Totally.
we're not trying to push any like world boundaries, I think, in like the music industry or whatever. It's just pushing ourselves, really, is what it comes down to. I like where we're going, and I'm satisfied with what we got right now, for sure. And, I want to keep doing it as long as we can,
I'll do it till I die. I don't care.
Yeah. I agree.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Let's go.
I'll do it after I die. I don't care.
You're doing it in hell.
Think I'm lying?
Well, gentlemen, we're gonna cue the outro music now. That's all done in post. So, yeah. With that being said, that has been our show. This is even how I do my outro. What the fuck am I even saying? I don't even remember how to do the outro. Doesn't matter.
Outro.
Doesn't matter.
Well, here's the deal. You know what this is. Been sitting here with Porters. My name is Brian Sykes-Howe. Start the Beat is the podcast. 2024 is the year. Until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of the people around you, and peace. We did it.
Peace.
That was a podcast.
Damn straight.
Thanks again for having us.